Hello there, wellness entrepreneur. Welcome back. Today, we're talking about how to grow your audience, whether that's in person and or line or online. These strategies can work in either or both so that you can start helping more people and grow your revenue because that's why you're a practitioner in the first place, right? And specifically, that's why you're an entrepreneur. You want to do it your way because without this, then really what you're doing is you have a job that you go to work in and you show up and someone else is bringing the clients to you. But as an entrepreneur, we have to find our clients, attract our clients, and this work is part of the process, even though it might feel uncomfortable. And here's really in specifically regarding this topic of growing your audience and learning how to convert them, or really to follow up on the yes frequency series, in their mind say, yes, I want to work with her. What often holds us back from that is feeling burnout. And when you feel burnout, that you've tried everything or that you're always giving, 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 but haven't seen return, and that can be giving of your resources, giving of your energy, your time, your information that you spent a lot of money and time to learn. Like for me, I knew when I graduated from receiving my doctorate in physical therapy school, there was a lot of mindset around when I first got into the wellness entrepreneurship world about giving away too much information and strategies off the bat. And that resonated with me because I had multiple six figures of student loan debt. And I was like, yeah, why would I give that information for free? That was, several years of my life and a lot of money. Why would I give it for free? But today we're talking about growing a business in a different way and how actually authentic giving will help to build trust and an audience that resonates with you, that is attracted to you, that trusts you. And that can help you to grow faster, help more people, earn more revenue than just showing up and doing constant promotion after promotion after promotion, or being the burnout practitioner that holds back because they fear being taken advantage of. So if you feel any of those, no shame, no judgment. I've been there myself. And I can tell you because these days I show up and I really give a lot. There's so many ways through just the investment of your time or low ticket, meaning under $45, you can learn a lot from me. I'll give you some examples. This podcast, I've had many people tell me that they could pay me for certain episodes from what they've learned from it and implemented it. I also have a Facebook group that I show up live in. I have low ticket workshops, free webinars, also the monthly Manifest and Move class, that's $20. I have weekly blogs that go out on my website that are packed, jam packed with so much information in them. I have free guides, free trainings. And this is really just the tip of the iceberg. I'm just getting starting. I'm really working on building, as my audience has been growing, more tiers in the beginning. I teach my practitioners, and I've learned this for myself. When you do have a smaller audience, it's simpler for you and simpler for your audience if you have one main offer and you have modifications of that offer without changing the structure to meet different people's budgets and needs, depending upon what your audience is really craving from you, and also helping to meet their own growth edges and your financial goals, right? There's ways to do both of that. And as your revenue grows into the multiple six figures and as your audience grows, then you can add in different offers and tiers that aren't actually just a modification of your existing offer. And that's where I'm moving into 2026. So stay tuned. I'm really examining my offers and thinking, okay, what offer might I bring in, or how I'm even thinking of possibly redesigning an offer of mine to meet people better at where they're at. But the bottom line is No matter your program, no matter your offer, whether you're working online or in person or a hybrid, like a lot of my clients, you do want and need to grow your audience and have them want to say yes to working with you. And in this economy, for sure, right now, trust is huge. People are feeling burnout themselves as clients and consumers to big corporate brands that maybe don't have the best customer service, or they feel in Western medicine they've been treated just like a mill. They've rushed into an appointment, rushed out of the appointment, given some gaslighty lines, and then the practitioners moved on to the next person. And you have an opportunity to do something different. And it starts with showing them, actually showing them how you're different. And that's what we're going to get into today is how to do that without burning yourself out more if you do feel tired or exhausted. And especially if you do feel like you've given a lot, but your audience seems not to have budged. What do you do then? Now, what I see a lot of is promotional posts, whether that's on Instagram or through email or just really rushed conversations in the DM. I've gotten so many of them recently because I really try to, for example, try to connect with my audience. So if someone follows me or if I follow someone and then they start messaging me, I can't tell you the number of messages that go right to the sales pitch. And they're kind of strange messages where if the person actually looked at my profile and look at what I do, the message just doesn't even make sense. Or I'll start a conversation and then all of a sudden they're like, what do you want from me? Do you want to join my membership? Do you want to join my program? Are you struggling with your hormones? And I'm like, whoa, no, I'm just connecting with you as a person. None of that actually resonates right now. But it's so forceful and so fast, it feels really abrupt, and it really breaks any connection I might have had with the person or the trust that was beginning to build with that practitioner online. Or if it's an in-person experience where I just feel sold to too quickly, it doesn't feel good. And what's happening is practitioners like yourself and myself, because I've been there, we're not really taught the strategy. We're taught that we need to promote our offers and make invitations, but we're not taught that you also have to build trust in your audience by giving out information so they understand what it is that you do, how you help people, and give them some wins and some tastes. And show them through your messaging that you really understand where they are and what they're struggling with. And here's the thing, as a practitioner, this takes time to convert the language from your practitioner brain to their perspective, to really understand what they might be wanting and be able to give through an email or a social media post or a conversation a message that shifts their perspective in what they're experiencing. Let me give you an example of that. So, for example, let's say maybe you help. I'll take an example from my past. I helped a lot of people with sciatica and disc things. And, a decade ago or so, it was maybe even more. I'm dating myself here. I used to get clients come into my office and they'd have a disc injury, and Western medicine doctors had told them that they should stop yoga, they shouldn't bend forward, they shouldn't twist. Like they were kind of like locked up. And if someone talked to me at the end of a class saying that, I can't do forward bends today, I actually have had this happen. I can't do forward bends today because my doctor told me I should not bend over. Now, I could write a post about that. I could have a conversation with that person in person. But in that moment, and if I'm able to get curious, okay, what is really going on here? Because is not bending over actually feasible for your lifetime? No, right? So I immediately get curious. And if that person is in person, I say, oh, okay, tell me what's going on. And they might say, what I want to find out is this is acute. Should they even be in my class in the first place? If they really can't bend over because a back injury just happened a day or two, they probably should rest a little bit more and then come back in another week or two. Okay, it's chronic. So actually, and I would tell them this, it's not that you're not going to bend forward forever and ever and ever. It's just that that doctor either didn't know or didn't have time to teach you how to bend forward. And the way that you were bending forward in the past really put a lot of pressure on your spine, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, in this class today, now that I know what's going on, I'm going to really cue and help you through alignment to teach your body how to bend forward so it's not going to irritate your discs and your nerves. For example, right? It's a huge perspective shift than what they've been taught. Or on an Instagram post, I could say the huge red flag from an MD. If you've ever been told not to bend forward and what to do instead, something like that. I have to go in and clean up that hook. But you see, I could make a post along those lines. And all of that thinking, that conversation, the thinking about, creating a piece of content from the client's perspective that's been told that they can't bend forward, it requires time and energy from me. They don't have to pay me anything in that moment, but I am giving ahead of time my time and energy. And if I do it from a place of expectation, meaning if I attach an expectation to the person talking in front of me about their back that they can't bend over and say, okay, well, I'm going to give out this information so that now they have to book a consultation. Or if I'm saying I'm going to make this post so that, I get a DM or I get a consultation from that, we put a lot of pressure on that one person or that one thing. And if it doesn't come through, it can feel really draining and exhausting. And then we get into this cycle of saying, well, I am giving a lot, nothing's working, and I'm not getting anything in return because I'm not getting any clients or my revenue. So either one or two things happens. You stop posting, you stop those conversations all at once, or you continue doing them but it becomes just pitches, right? Your social media content, your emails just become pitches. The conversations out in the public become rushed, and you might just skip all the pleasantries and the actual conversation and the curiosity, and you just get to, well, you need to come to my office and I can help you, and it's kind of abrupt and forced. And the problem with this is, for a small percentage of the people who already know, like, and trust you, or maybe it's a strong referral, they are able to really know who you are and they might move forward and work with you. But you're missing out on a lot of people who would work with you, but you've actually pushed them away now. So now it becomes an even bigger, I don't know if it's sabotage or self-fulfilling prophecy, but now it just reinforces that whole pattern where I'm giving, 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 and no one's coming to me. And we need to pattern disrupt and break this cycle, because you actually do want to give. You want to give in a way that has no attachment, no expectation in return. Because the truth is, the more you give, right, the more people that you talk to, the more conversations you have from curiosity and non attachment, the more emails that you write, the more posts that you make are more opportunities for the right person at the right time to say yes and move forward and work with you. And it can be a combination of a promotional post that really is speaking about your workshop or your program, in combination with posts and emails and conversations that, yes, again, are more towards giving and educating and perspective shifting that builds the trust. Both are needed. This is not what is taught in your certifications and your trainings, right? You're taught to promote your programs and make offers and show up and market and be visible. You're just not really told how. So unless you know, you might just go out and make promotional posts because that's what you've been told to do. So if you've been doing that, no worries. Like, I'm just providing a different perspective here, how you can mix up your content, right? And emails and conversations. Or if you had a sense, okay, I do want to, have people, I have so much to share. I do want to share that with the world. And you've tried that, but you felt like nothing's come from it. It might be because A, the message is not resonating. B, the frequency is off. You're not doing enough. And because that is true, we'll get into that in a moment. And C, you're doing it from a place of expectation. So people on the receiving end kind of feel that pressure and it's pushing them away. And maybe you're doing a hybrid of them, right? Or just one of them. I've done for sure all of them. But that is why you see Instagram numbers getting stuck. Now, the algorithm, as you know, is a whole other thing. And there's specific strategies and previous episodes to help with that or message me. I do a lot with that. But you do want to show up in ways that are giving and giving with the next step. I'm not saying go out there and post how to get rid of sciatica to follow up on the conversation I had before with that student. How to get rid of your back pain for good, your whole blueprint and methodology in an Instagram reel. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying actually give information that can help your audience take that next step closer to realizing that you're the person to help them. And there's so many ways that you can do this. And we'll get into a couple of strategy today, actually. But here's the brutal truth. Your audience, some of them are strangers on the internet. Some of your audience, you're a stranger in a workshop. Or for me, when I would go to workshops and events, the person leading the event would seem so many steps ahead of me that it almost was like that practitioner was even accessible to me, if that makes sense. So, how I started working with people was just being in their world. Like, for example, Stacy Bayman, one of my first coaches in the coaching world. When I first heard of her work and started listening to her, at the time, her mastermind was $25,000 for 6 months. And I started listening to the success stories of these courageous female entrepreneurs that were in her container and doing her work. And I heard about Stacey's programs. And the very first program I invested with her was $2,000. And it seemed like a lot of money. I was in the physical therapy world at the time. I was charging like session to session. I think I just raised my prices over 6 or 9 months of time from $60, and now I was like at $125 a session, but I was still going session by session. And $2,000 to make my first few $2,000, it seemed like a reach. But I just kept listening to Stacey's content and on her podcast and in her emails and on her social media, and I built a relationship with her that she didn't even know she had with me, where I began to trust her more. I would see examples, I would see myself in them. And slowly by surely, my mind started being like, oh, this is something you can do. It is possible for you. You do belong in this world. And I did buy that first program. And I made my money back quickly. But then the next jump to $25,000 for 6 months, I didn't know if I'd ever do that. But it took me 2 years, but in 2 years' time, or maybe it was a year and a half, I eventually invested and did that with her and was in that room for multiple times. But Stacey didn't have any conversations with me. It was all through her content of her podcast was so valuable. I loved reading her emails because they provided perspective shifts. Her Instagram post shifted, I felt like emotional and energetic shifts within me. And all of that built trust to take that next step. And that's really what we want to do for our audiences. This is what I try to do with you. As I mentioned, there's three primary ways that practitioners frequently show up as. Number one, they might be showing up as the fortress approach, meaning you're so protective of your knowledge that every post is either generic inspiration, quotes, or just straight up promotion. Here's my workshop. Here's my classes. I have a session available Tuesday, and there's nothing in between. Or you're the exhausted giver. You give so much in the past, free discovery calls that are actually coaching calls, free workshops, free DM advice, that you actually burn out and swung completely the other way. Now you don't want to give anything. Or the value confusion. You think giving value means teaching someone your entire method for free. So either you avoid it completely or you do give away your entire method for free. And then you wonder why no one buys. And all of this, maybe you show up as one of these or kind of a hybrid of them. It creates a slow and stale audience growth, low engagement on your content, fewer consultation bookings, a feed that looks like a used car lot because it's promotions or the same flyer over and over again, and an audience that doesn't understand why they should work with you specifically. Okay. So here's what I want you to understand. Giving value in your marketing is not the same as working for free. It does require energy and time and curiosity to get to know your audience better But authentic giving in your marketing is not working for free. It's strategic trust building. It's showing people you know your stuff or building a connection and resonating with them before asking them to invest thousands of dollars with you. I mean, that just makes sense, right? Think about it from yourself as a buying perspective. When do you buy products and services for someone? What triggers that for yourself, the safety to hit buy, especially if it's a few $100s or a few $1,000s? So let's think of it from a service provider perspective. Would you hire a physical therapist who never demonstrated that they understood your specific pain? Would you book a massage therapist who never showed you how they won't cause more bruising and trauma? Would you invest in a yoga program if you've never experienced their vibe or how they're going to articulate or package and present the modalities of transformation? The authentic giving framework has three parts. It's giving strategically, not everything. So you're not teaching the entire program. You're teaching one concept, one shift, one golden nugget in one conversation or one post or one email. It's a small win. That's it. But, and here's the thing, as practitioners, we have a tendency to fire hose people. That allows them to integrate it and process it and actually get the win so that they're like, oh my gosh, I need to work with her more, right? When you give, you should be building belief, not examining, did I get my return? Did I get my return? Because when we're always saying, okay, did that conversation pay off? Did that post pay off? Did that email pay off? Did all those DMs pay off? That's what really exhausts you. The content that you are putting out there should be helpful in building belief in your methodology, helping you to connect more with your audience, and knowing that it's from trial and error, it's not personal. And there's going to be some refinement needed till you get it right or it pays off, literally. And you can always give with an invitation. So another mistake I see is people actually giving. Maybe they're giving a whole yoga tutorial or an exercise, but they're leaving off the last step, the call to action, the invitation. So you want to make sure that you give with an invitation, not an apology. So when you're having a conversation with someone and you are giving a valuable piece of information or you're putting out a valuable email, it should naturally lead to, and if you want help with this or you want the next step, here's how to work with me. Not apologizing for having an offer or hiding your services, just a clear, confident invitation. So it's not about being a giving informational to your audience. This is about being strategic enough that your content, your giving, it does work for you. It builds trust, it grows your audience, you're putting a lot of goodwill into the community. It will return in terms of booking consultations, clients, and referrals. So when you do this, your audience will begin to see you as the expert. They begin to trust you before ever hopping on a call. They want to start wanting and desiring to work with you. They're planning, they're budgeting. I have people that tell me all the time, I've been budgeting and saving to work with you, not just considering it. And I haven't even had a conversation with them. They share your content because it actually helped them. For your business, you get consultations booked with people that are already pre-sold to work with you, not just kind of tire kicking and shopping around. You attract higher quality clients who already believe in your method. Your content becomes your 24/7 sales team, even when you sleep. You stand out in a saturated marketplace because you're actually being helpful. And for you, you'll actually grow to love marketing. I love marketing. It's a creative outlet for me. I love connecting with my audience. So you'll stop feeling like a sleazy marketer because you know the information you're putting out there is of service or to connect. You build an audience that actually engages with your content. You work less because your content does more of the heavy lifting and you feel aligned with your marketing. Finally, this is how I've helped a lot of my clients. So a lot of the clients on this very podcast episode, this is what we have strategically implemented into their business. So you can go back and listen to some of those stories. But here's two strategies to implement this week, just to give it a try, right? We're going to get really practical here. Strategy number one is the proof of concept post. This is where you teach one small thing. So pick one specific problem that's happening at noon on a Tuesday, and then pick one step or part of a process, or what's one thing that they can do to get a win. So here's the formula. Problem they're experiencing, being super specific, why the common solution doesn't work. For example, the doctor telling people not to bend forward, that's not going to work to heal discs. Why your simple shift is what will work and what it is. You can even tell a client story or your story. So one person it worked for, and then an invitation to work for you. Okay, so here's an example. Your hip pain isn't from doing enough bridges, right? It's actually from the instability pattern that no one talks about in your glute muscles. There's a 30-second test I use with every client, and why, even if you've gone to physical therapy in the past, it might not have worked because they didn't do this test. When my client Sarah did this test, and you might have in the video showing someone doing the test, or in an email, you can describe it briefly. We were able to fix her pain in 3 weeks without a single glute bridge. If you want me to assess what's going on in your hip, there's a link in the bio to book a call. So this is just one brief example of how you're pointing out a perspective shift of how maybe they've been given that bridge exercise from Pilates, from physical therapy, and it's still not working, right? And they're like, oh, wow, I don't even have to do bridges. And then you're showing them a simple test or describing a simple test, and something clicks in their brain. Oh, I probably am missing that. Now I'm curious. Maybe I should have that test done with her. So that's an example of one. Here's another strategy: the behind the scenes of results content, or an email. This is where you pull back the curtain on how you get results without teaching your entire program. So the formula is show a transformation, your story or client story, reveal one element of what made it work, and explain that why that element is different from what they've tried in the past, and invite them to experience it themselves. So you might say, my client came to me after seeing many massage therapists. She just loved massages, but they weren't sticking. They weren't lasting. A massage therapist would work on her back, and she would feel better for like a week, and then her pain would come back to her shoulder blade area. And she came to me requesting really deep tissue work. And what I told her is that actually the deep tissue work was making it worse. And what she needed was some myofascial release work that felt lighter to the touch, but was actually more direct to the area that was really stuck, in combination with some specific shoulder stabilization exercises. When she was able to implement those, she realized, oh my gosh, how much she had suffered from all these deep tissue massages where she left beat up and feeling and literally bruised, but the work wasn't lasting longer than a week. So again, another kind of raw example, but showing a different perspective and a client result. Well, then you could say, like, that client, how she felt when she worked with me for 3 months where we implemented this strategy, she was able to stay shoulder pain free. So you can highlight the result of that work. So here's how to implement this without the burnout. I often recommend batch your content. Now, I don't mean batching your content for a whole month. I often like to batch my content for 1 week, because that way I can look at the week and I can evaluate, did this land? Are people taking action? Are they hitting save? Are they hitting share with their friends? Are they sending me a DM? I don't want to have content batched for a whole entire month and go a week and see no progress in any of those key metrics, and then just keep posting more, because then I'm going to be waiting a month to add in some changes. So I like to batch content for 1 week. Plus it's not like hours and hours of time. I can do 1 hour to 90 minutes, and then I can refine it. You can reuse client wins. I'm reusing my client wins all the time. You can set boundaries on DMs. I only respond to DMs and have conversations during my normal working hours. And you can stop overcomplicating it. You don't need to teach a masterclass in every single post. One helpful idea is enough. Now, you might be thinking, Alison, won't they just take my free value and run? Sure, some will. There's a small percentage of people that are able to put together the information where what you said hit them at the right exact moment and they can implement it and they have enough information on their own where they do implement it and they get a result and they you never hear from again. Most people, when I get wins though, you're stronger, you're on my radar more. I watch you more. I'm going to now maybe even take the step of purchasing a lower ticket item from you because I got that win. And now I'm on your email list. So for me personally as a consumer, if I get free value, I'm not running, I'm buying more. So maybe you need to look at how you're interacting with other businesses. Are you the person that's taking? Are you showing up to the free webinars and frantically taking notes and trying to get all the information for free all the time? Well, it'd be natural to think of that. That's what your audience would do to you too, because that's what you're doing, right? But just remembering that there's a whole other world of different consumers and different buyers. It's remembering you might even want to shift your own buying habits, and that might change how you even view your audience. And if you're thinking, well, Elson, I've tried giving free value before and no one bought. So again, it might be that how you positioned or presented the value, it didn't resonate with them. Or you presented the value and it wasn't specific enough. So they didn't get how they could implement it in their life. Or you presented the value and you didn't have a call to action. Or you taught them so much that they were able to do it themselves and then they really didn't need you. Or you gave generic tips that didn't build belief in your specific method. So sometimes there is, you might have given value, but it wasn't from this strategy. The value you give, if implemented, they will want to work with you more, not less. And then here's a common thought I hear from a lot of practitioners that are building their business. I don't have time to create content and run my business. Here's the truth. As a business owner, you have to create time to market, to have conversations, to give ahead of time. You have to, or else you're not going to have a business to build. If you don't want to do that, and I say this with love, I would get a job. Because entrepreneurship, you have to market, you have to promote, you have to give ahead of time without an attachment. That does not mean, however, that you need to create content every day. It's just being strategic in your content creation and in your conversations to make them work for you. And the last common thought I often hear frequently is, what if my competitors take my best stuff and steal it? You know, I've had this happen to me a lot where I really had a small audience and I gave a lot away, but I was not presenting the information in a way that resonated with my audience or just the way the algorithm was with my audience. So for example, I had a reel that I was talking about. It was a gift. So I didn't make the original video, but I took the video. You can go back on my feed and you can see it. It was 3 or 6 months ago. And it was of a person filling up a protein, I think it was a scoop of protein powder, and they were leveling it off and taking all this time to make the scoop all perfect, right? To be dumped into a glass. But when they dumped it they missed the glass and the protein, this beautifully scooped out scoop of protein powder, it just landed on the counter and not the grasp and the glass. And the words on the screen were like, you spent all this time to do this, and then this happened. And I don't even remember the niche. I don't remember exactly what it said, but I was like, oh my gosh, that's like my audience where they spend all this time creating content and they get 5 likes and 0 DMs, right? So that's what I wrote. I took a piece of content that wasn't even for my niche or talking about content and reels. It was about health and wellness, and I made it for my audience. And someone with a huge audience, I think they had 500,000 followers, they follow me. They saw that. They literally just replicated the same exact thing because their audience is for content creators. They're social media strategists. They literally just copied the same exact thing and they made one small tweak where I was like, damn, that actually sounds better. They like refined one section at the very end of it where I think I said like, and you get zero DMs and five likes. And I think they made it just a little bit hip and cooler where it was like, and the only person that likes your post is your mom or something like that. So they just changed one small phrase of it and repurposed it, and it went viral for them. Like literally millions of views, where mine was stuck at, it was a pretty good one for me. I got like 5,000 views, but nothing like millions. So, it's going to happen where people are going to be ripped up. Your stuff is going to get ripped on. But the truth is like I got the idea was sparked from someone else and I used their video. And, when I remixed it, that content creator's name and everything was up there. I was not even acknowledged or mentioned in the person who took my words and used it. So I've also had practitioners use my stuff and create similar programs. But the truth is, there's no one like you. There's no one with your exact experience and life stories and trainings and certifications and vibe. They can't be you. Someone can, in fact, someone just, a practitioner that was in the healthcare industry, just not to call them out so much, the healthcare industry was focusing on female entrepreneurs of women's health, reached out to me wanting to connect with me. And after I saw that I was like, huh, why does she want to connect with me? I was a little leery because I heard some things. And sure, after a few conversations, don't you know, I see her bio change on her Instagram. It says almost the exact same as mine. But you know what? The truth is, her personality, and she's focusing more on helping people grow online, where I've known about her the last like year or so, and she's never mentioned that. So the point is, her personality is really different than mine. And some people might be more attracted to her, and that's fine. But I need to believe that my people are going to be attracted to me and my vibe because I do it differently. My story is very different than hers. And I've been in the online world. I'm very solid in what I teach and why I teach it. My story is very different. And I've been in this online world a lot longer and for very different reasons. And so I'm going to attract my people and she's going to attract her people. Bottom line, abundance. We just have to think more abundantly that there's enough for everyone and we're going to attract our people. And here's the truth, my messaging is always evolving. So if she's always copying me, she's always going to be in catch up, right? Where I'm always going to be a step ahead. So, and yes, there might be people, like I said, the bigger content creator who takes my stuff and they're steps ahead of me. But you know what? What goes around comes around. That's my thoughts. But I'm still in business today and I'm still growing. So that's what really matters. So I think sometimes we just have to watch our brain, where it goes and what our thoughts are and what we, as someone would say, which wolf do we want to feed? Where do you want to invest your time and energy? I choose to invest it in learning how to more and better authentically give to my audience to help them get more and bigger wins so they want and desire to work with me more and more. That's my goal. What's yours? And how do you act as a buyer? Because that might help you unravel some of the thoughts you have in your head about your audience. Okay, so go try some of those one or the out of the two strategies, pick one and try it this week and send me a message. I would love to hear. And if you love this, let me know and get out there and just start having more conversations. It truly will help your business and keep refining because you can make this work. All right, little longer episode today, but hopefully it'll inspire you as we are coming into the final couple months of the year. Amazing. I can't even wait to see what 2026 is going to hold for you. I'm so excited for you. All righty, I will see you next week. Bye for now.